Good morning. My name is Horace Hodge, and I serve as the USDA liaison with the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement at my alma mater, Prairie View A&M University. I sincerely hope and trust that everyone on this virtual summit meeting, that you and your families are staying safe and healthy. I will be serving as your moderator for the general session, and my counterpart, Ms. Ruby De La Garza, will join as moderator during the breakout sessions. She has truly been a true team member in planning this Texas Summit. I want to personally thank all of the planning team members, a phenomenal partnership effort indeed. Before we get started, I have to tell you that I'm excited about today's summit. I am told that registration maxed out. There will be a lot of information shared, and it is our goal that all participants, and I do mean all, will learn something that they can use to enhance prosperity in their respective community. This partnership, or this summit, is being hosted by OPPE, the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement, and Prairie View A&M University. This partnership brings us to our first presenter. Dr. Gerard D'Souza is Dean, College of Agriculture and Human Sciences, and Director of Land Grant Programs at Prairie View A&M University, a position he has held since July 1st, 2018. Prior to that, he served as the Director of the Division of Resource Economic and Management and Professor of Agricultural Economics at West Virginia University. He earned a BS degree from the University of Agricultural Sciences in Bangalore, India, and a MS and PhD from Mississippi State University. Dr. Gerard D'Souza has a passion for students, teaching, spearheading student success initiatives, new courses, and new majors. Please welcome Gerard D'Souza, Dean and Director of Land Grant Programs, Prairie View A&M University.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hodge. Very much appreciate it, and very much appreciate your coordination of this event. It's a great testament to you and your team that there's this many participants that have tuned in. So greetings once again from Prairie View A&M University. We are excited to partner with USDA's Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement to host this virtual Texas Community Prosperity Summit. We had planned for an in-person summit, but we all know why we are Zooming in today. On behalf of Dr. Ruth Simmons, the president of Prairie View A&M University, and the faculty, staff, and students, particularly in the College of Agriculture and Human Sciences, I want to welcome you to the Texas community. I want to thank any elected officials that have joined this summit, including Mr. David Allen, Mayor, City of Prairie View, Texas. Thanks to Mike Beatty and his team for initiating and supporting this effort. A special thank you to the planning team, including the aforementioned Horace Hodge, the USDA Service Center agencies, Rural Development, Natural Resources Conservation Service, and the Farm Service Agency, as well as all other federal, state, local, and the 1890 and 1862 extension partners for their unwavering support to convene this summit. And wanted to give you a quick overview of the college and the university. As you folks know, we are preparing for the fall semester to begin late August under very uncertain times. And so this is a challenging time, but also one that's full of opportunities for this great college. And as we go through this pandemic and recover, hopefully sooner rather than later, we realize the importance of food to health and the importance of food security and related topics. So from my perspective, for colleges of agriculture such as ours, this is our time to shine. So we hope that we can overcome the obstacles and have a very successful semester and academic year ahead. So I want to wish all those of you who are in similar situations nationwide at universities and colleges all the very best. So coming back to this summit, a couple of reasons why this summit is timely and important. One, rural communities generally are struggling, and many are at risk of chronic and severe decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic and other factors. Two, we are challenged to not only help add value to rural communities, but to create pathways that allow rural communities to thrive. The committee has planned an ambitious agenda for today's summit. Topics to be discussed include business programs, housing programs, community programs, economic development, agriculture, and food insecurity, all of which are very relevant to the resilience of our rural and urban communities. I trust all of you will learn something today that will enhance prosperity in your respective communities. Once again, I welcome you and I thank you all for participating.
Thank you so much, Dean. Really appreciate that. I just wanted to tell you that when I approached you for the in-person summit, you readily agreed and saw worth in hosting it on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Before I introduce the next speaker, though, I must recognize three other persons from the Prairie View family. Dr. Kweku Adu, Associate Dean for Academic Programs and Department Head. Dr. Alfred Parks, Interim Program Executive Associate for Research. And Dr. Carolyn Williams, Executive Associate Administrator for the 1890 Extension Program. Each of you deserves recognition not only for supporting this summit, but the OPP National Summit held in Houston and the Train the Trainer Summit held on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. Thank you so much for your support and participating in this virtual summit. As you've heard or may not know, our chief or our director, Mike Beatty, cannot be with us today, and we just hope all is well with him and his family, and we want to give a shout out to him. We affectionately call him Coach in the OPVE arena, but we have a great person to come in and represent and speak on behalf of the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement. Jacqueline Davis Slay. In 2019, Ms. Slay assumed the position of Deputy Director for the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement. She has over 20 years of federal service with experience in legislative and policy development, statistical analysis, fiscal and program management, service delivery, and marketing, with a particular interest in developing innovative partnerships and opportunities to assist vulnerable populations, socially disadvantaged, beginning, and limited resource producers. She's a native of Port Gibson, Mississippi. She attained her undergraduate and graduate degrees from Alcorn State University in agriculture economics. She is married to Denmark V. Slay and the mother of one son. Please welcome Ms. Jacqueline Davis Slay, Deputy Director, Office of Partnership and Public Engagement. Your time, Jackie.
Good morning. Thank you, Horace, for that introduction, and thank you, Dean, for that warm welcome. Again, my name is Jacqueline Davis Slay, and I do serve as the Deputy Director for the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement. I bring you greetings from my supervisor, Mr. Mike Beatty, and the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. We want to welcome you and extend our sincere thank you for participating in this great wealth of knowledge and information that is about to be shared with you all. You know, the mission of OPPE is to foster hope and opportunity, build assets, and create wealth. And with this team of USDA employees and other federal employees that will be sharing information, we want you all to use these tools and resources that they are providing to you all really to address and tackle and really accomplish that mission that we have here at OPPE. We have a great team of speakers and presenters. We have some fantastic programs that are available through the USDA and our other federal agency, but we also look to partner with some of our private sector entities. And so, you know, we want to extend these opportunities to you all. We are here to serve you all as federal employees. I want to thank Ruby and the entire SFAC team, that's the State Food and Agriculture team, for really coming out to present this information to you all. And these are some trying times, and these are some times where a lot of folks out there are in need. And, you know, through the service that the federal government in partnership with other entities, you know, that we bring to you all, we are hoping that we can address some of those needs that are out there. You know, we want you to listen up, take notes, take in as much as possible because there is going to be a lot of information that's shared here. But listen, you have a team of advocates here for you all. We want you all to use us daily. You know, we take calls, a lot of us both day and night. Please feel free to reach out to us, but our core hours are 8 to 5. And we are here to serve you and to provide you and to connect you with these people that have those resources that really can address your needs. I want to thank Prairie View. We want to thank the Regional Rural Development Center for really hosting and facilitating the summit with us. We have a great team here. We've established Centers of Community Prosperity in partnership with Prairie View A&M, and we want to really express gratitude for that partnership to really bring you those tools and resources that the federal sector has to offer. Again, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. And I am thankful for being here, and God bless. Let's keep moving forward.
Next, we will have greetings from our USDA agencies. And these are what we call our service center agencies. These are agencies that have county offices throughout the nation and certainly are in tune with the producers and the constituents within those respective counties. So I will introduce to you Mr. Ed Hargett. Ed was sworn in as the State Director for Texas Rural Development in 2017. As State Director, Ed uses his leadership to oversee rural development programs in a customer-focused manner to restore prosperity in rural America. He comes from rural development with 40 years of experience working for electric cooperatives. Ed is a native of Texan and a proud graduate of Linden Kier and Texas A&M University with a degree in electrical engineering. Also was a quarterback at Texas A&M. I turn the mic over now to Mr. Ed Hargett, State Director for Rural Development in Texas.
Thank you, Horace, and welcome to all of you to this virtual summit. We're sorry that we can't be with you in person. We'd like that much better, but this virtual summit hopefully will help you, help your area prosper as we go forward. I want to thank Horace in particular, Ruby De La Garza, and Erica Archie on our staff here at RD for doing most of the legwork that has been done to promote this summit. I also want to thank the Southern Rural Development Center, Rachel, and all your people, the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement, and particular Prairie View A&M. They had stepped up to host this summit in person, but since the COVID and all the things that are going on, they've done an outstanding job of getting us into this virtual summit. Rural Development has over 40 programs to help rural America prosper. And a lot of these programs are going to be talked about during the sessions today. Our program directors all have a portion of the program today. We have 26 offices. Horace said they're all the counties, but we have 26 offices throughout the state to serve the public. USDA's motto is to do right and feed everyone. RD's motto is Together, America Prospers. And we hope that today's summit and meeting will give you more tools to help your particular area prosper. Thanks and welcome. We're so glad you're here and so glad you're a part of this summit.
Thank you, Ed. And I just want to say, you've been a great supporter of this effort, and I cannot thank you enough, but I will try. And so also, reflecting back, Jackie, just wanted to let you know that we appreciate your leadership and the for OPPE. Thank you for supporting this effort, and just thank you for supporting Rural America through the Office of Partnership and Public Engagement. Our next speaker will be Mr. Eddie Trevino with the Farm Service Agency. He serves as the Principal Staff Advisor to the State Executive Director on administrative and management issues. Trevino previously served as Farm Loan Division Chief in Texas, where he was responsible for one of the agency's largest and most diverse direct and guaranteed loan program in the country. Eddie earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Agricultural Economics from Texas A&M University, and he was born and raised in the Rio Grande Valley area of southern Texas. He and his wife have 2 children. Thank you, Eddie. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge, and good morning to everyone. Again, my name is Eddie Trevino. I serve as Executive Officer for the Farm Service Agency here in Texas. And I've been asked to make a few remarks on behalf of our State Executive Director, Gary Six. FSA has been busy. It's been a busy year administering commodity and disaster conservation, farm loan, and price support programs. And our hearts and thoughts are with the people of South Texas having experienced and suffered the effects of Hurricane Hannah. And our thoughts are with them, and we hope to have something to be able to speak about that in the near future. But like so many businesses, agriculture producers have been hard hit by the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. The hot topic this year has been the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program, which we call CFAP. It provides direct relief to producers who face price declines and additional marketing costs due to COVID-19, and producers still have until August the 28th to apply. As of July 20th, Texas FSA had already approved more than 27,000 applications and dispersed nearly $332 million in CFAP payments to eligible producers. Now, there's still time for producers to enroll, and we expect to see these numbers climb as we move closer to that deadline. Now, later this morning, we'll discuss more details on CFAP in the agricultural breakout session, as well as our farm loan program that helps producers start, improve, or expand their agricultural operations. FSA has both farm ownership and operating loans to help producers with all aspects of their operation. If producers in your community need FSA assistance, our offices are open. Like you, our county offices staff have adapted to a new way of conducting business, and they've done it willingly and efficiently. County offices are taking phone and virtual appointments. A handful of FSA offices are open for scheduled in-person appointments. Now, regardless of your office's operating status, we do recommend that you call to make an appointment first. For those of you who may be involved in production agriculture or know someone who is, we have a few upcoming deadlines that require the attention of farmers and ranchers. Producers in local administrative areas that are up for election this year have until August the 1st, 2020, to submit a county committee nomination form. County committees are an important part of our FSA structure. They make important decisions on how federal programs are administered locally. Farm owners also have a one-time opportunity to update price loss coverage yields of covered commodities on the farm, regardless of the agricultural risk coverage or price loss coverage program election. The deadline to request a what we call PLCE or PLC yield update is September 30th. Also, eligible producers can enroll in the Wildlife and Hurricane Indemnity Program Plus, which helps producers recover from losses related to 2018 and 2019 natural disasters. Producers can apply for eligible losses of drought and excessive moisture. Assistance is also available to sugar beet producers. Additionally, we have 133 counties in the state where livestock producers are now eligible for disaster assistance due to drought. If you know someone who has been affected or impacted, have them call their local FSA office and inquire about the Livestock Forage Disaster Program. We know farmers and ranchers are facing uncertain times, and although they are not intended to make a producer whole, the financial support provided through Farm Service Agency certainly helps alleviate some of those stressors. Funds that also make their way back into your communities as farmers and ranchers pay for goods and services supporting local businesses. We're very proud of the work we do to support the agriculture industry and rural communities. Through events such as this summit, we can raise an awareness of the programs and services we at FSA provide and subsequently support producers who may not be aware that our programs are available or that they're eligible to participate. Thank you again for the opportunity to join you today in this collective spirit of collaboration and partnership. Look forward to speaking to you all later today. Thank you all.
Thank you, Eddie. I really appreciate that. I know we'll get in a little bit more depth when we get into our breakout session. I can tell you the first time I met you, we clicked because my first job assignment was down in the Rio Grande Valley. So I have a deep appreciation for that area of the state, a lot of intensive agriculture that occurs down there. So thank you very, 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 very much.
Yes,
and our final presenter for greetings this morning is none other than the Clint Evans. Clint is serving as the acting state conservationist in Texas until this position is filled. He has served as the state conservationist for NRCS in Colorado since February of 2015. Over the past 20 years, Mr. Evans has held a wide range of positions at the field and state level, including remediation coordinator in Wyoming, as well as serving 120-day details as acting state conservationist in both Idaho and Utah. Clint graduated from the Kansas State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Animal Science. Clint is now working with NRCS staff and conservation partners to address the priority resource concerns in Texas. Welcome to Texas, Clint, and you're on.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Hodge, and thank you to Prairie View A&M University for including the NRCS and our USDA agencies on this community summit here this morning. So looking forward to speaking with everyone here later today in the ag session. On behalf of Chief Matt Lohr and our regional conservationist for the Central Region, Salvador Salinas, just want to welcome everyone to the summit. Glad we could be a part of it. We're going to talk a little bit later today about more of our conservation programs that are available through the Natural Resources Conservation Service. We have 243 field offices all across Texas. We're co-located with both rural development and our sister agency, the Farm Service Agency, throughout the state. We'll also be talking about the farmers.gov portal. That's an online portal where folks can get access to all of our programs and eligibility forms and information that they need to request assistance from any of the USDA agencies within the farm production and conservation mission area. So again, thank you for having us. Thanks for including us, and really appreciate all the efforts of Mr. Hodge and Prairie View A&M to bring this summit together.
Well, thank you, Clint. I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but prior to my taking my current position, I served with NRCS, or at that time, Soil Conservation Service, in various locations. Have a great love of the work that you do and the agency does. And by the way, NRCS leads the nation in our 1890 scholars in terms of the opportunity to have access to a quality education. I want to thank NRCS for that. And also back to Eddie. Eddie, you know, and I've told you this before, that FSA has the only two 1890 scholars in the nation that's sponsored by your agency. So we really do appreciate that and appreciate the partnership. Thank all of our presenters and so far this morning, and we're going to move right into our other part of the general session. And so the next presenter is Daniel Torres, and Daniel, you'll tell me when you are ready to move forward with the presentation.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hodge, and good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see that so many of you are joining us today. Many of you are familiar with our programs, but there are some also who are not. So we're happy to have you join us today. As Mr. Hargett, our state director, stated earlier, rural development offers a variety of direct loan, guaranteed loan, and grant programs that support the economy and the quality of life in rural America. USDA Rural Development is divided into 8 missions to bring prosperity and opportunity to rural areas. USDA's Rural Utility Service, often referred to as RUS, provides much needed infrastructure or infrastructure improvements to rural communities. USDA's Rural Housing Service offers a variety of programs to build or improve housing and essential community facilities in rural areas. USDA's Rural Business Cooperative Service offers programs to help businesses grow and create and save jobs in rural areas. My presentation will focus on the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program, Rural Business Development, and the Intermediary Relending Program, which are all under the Business Cooperative Service. I will not dive too far into the details, but will give you a basic understanding of each program so that perhaps a business or organization in your community can utilize one of the programs. As stated earlier, our USDA Rural Development staff in our area offices and in our state office are available to answer any additional questions that you may have about any of these programs. My rural development colleagues will also provide information on some of the other rural development programs during the breakout sessions later this morning. We're starting out with the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program. The Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program has been helping rural businesses to access private capital since 1972. trillions of dollars in loan guarantees to thousands of businesses throughout the country. Applications for this program may be submitted at any time through a traditional lender. The program receives annual funding appropriations, and Texas receives an allocation for loans within the state. The mission of the program is to create and maintain employment and improve the economic and environmental climate in rural communities. Also, it's to bolster the existing private credit structure through the guarantee of quality loans that will provide lasting community benefits. So this next slide covers the lender benefits and why would a lender be willing to participate in this program to assist businesses in their service areas. Well, one thing that the program does for lenders, it expands their rural business portfolio. Another is that it helps serve borrowers who otherwise would be unable to get a loan. The program is not for substandard or marginal loan lenders to maybe offer longer terms than they ordinarily would, and it also provides them to extend beyond their legal lending limit, because the guaranteed portion of the loan does not count against their legal lending limit. It mitigates collateral and other perceived risks on a loan. There's an active secondary market for these loans, so lenders can utilize and benefit from selling these loans in the secondary market, usually at a premium. Fee income generated from these loans, also interest that they would receive on the unsold portion of the loan. Of course, the premium that they get for selling the loan, any loan-related fees that are paid at the origination of the loan. Who can borrow? There are various business structures that are able to borrow under the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program. The program does not have business size standards like the Small Business Administration programs, and it works for business proprietor to a publicly traded company. For-profit businesses are able to access the program. It can be corporations, partnerships, etc. Nonprofits, cooperatives, federally recognized tribes, public bodies, and individuals are all eligible borrowers. Funds may be used for development or expansion of a business, to purchase real estate or buildings, purchase equipment, supplies, or inventory. It can be used for working capital. Now, this is a one-time advance of working capital. Loan guarantees are not available for revolving lines of credit. It can be used for refinancing debt under certain conditions, and also for acquisitions. The program is available for new or existing businesses. It does not have to be a business that's involved in agriculture. Some examples of industries that have received B&I guaranteed loans in Texas include manufacturing, retail, warehouses, hospitality, food processing, chemical companies, oil refineries, convenience stores, restaurants, grain elevators, cotton gins, grocery stores, and movie theaters. The slide that we're viewing right now is a facility that we financed under the B&I program for a cold storage facility, exports beef and imports produce. They received a B&I guaranteed a few years ago. This slide is a restaurant in Eagle Pass, Texas. Also, the loan was for construction of the building, and there was also another lender involved in this program. I mean, in this project. This slide is for a solar farm in Marlin, Texas, under the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program. There are several other facilities like this throughout the state that have been financed under the B&I program. There's also some purposes that the B&I program cannot be used for, and those include charitable institutions, churches or church-controlled organizations, fraternal organizations, lending and investment institutions, insurance companies, businesses engaged in illegal activity, and golf courses. Next slide. Other ineligible purposes are housing. Housing is not eligible because we have other rural development programs that are designated for that purpose. As stated earlier, lines of credit are not eligible. Lease payments, guarantee of loans made by other federal agencies, distribution or payment to an owner, beneficiary, or a close relative of the owner, when the owner will remain an owner, federal tax exempt obligations, agricultural production with certain, all these are ineligible loan purposes. So loans are available, loan guarantees are available in areas that are outside of cities, in towns of less than 50,000 population, and in urbanized areas near cities that are greater than 50,000 population. We have a website that helps with the identifying whether a project location is in an eligible. But we encourage you to use our eligibility website to determine if an area is eligible. Also note that rural development programs do not use the same criteria to define rural. Different programs have different definitions for rural. Business programs has the most liberal one with a population of 50,000. Loan guarantee maximums. So on loans up to $5 million, the maximum guarantee that can be provided to the lender is 80% of the loan amount. 10 million can receive a guarantee up to 70%. Loans greater than 10 million up to 25 million can receive a guarantee up to 60%. There's only 2 fees associated with the loan, and the first one is a guarantee fee, which is payable at the time that the loan guarantee is issued to the lender. The initial guarantee fee is 3%. There's an annual renewal fee of 0.5% that's paid every year by the lender, and that's based on the principal balance at the end of the year. Reasonable customary fees are negotiated between the borrower and the lender. There's no minimum loan limit. 10 million maximum without administrator exception is possible. Texas approval authority is $10 million. So all loans under 10 million can be approved here in the state. Up to 25 million to any one borrower. For consideration over 10 million, the priority score for that project must be over 50% with the possible points. Loans are available for up to 40 million for rural cooperative organizations. Loan structures are negotiated between the lender and the borrower. Interest rates can be fixed, variable, or a combination of those, but cannot adjust more often than quarterly. Origination fees and prepayment penalties are also permitted, but no balloon payments are allowed. The maximum loan terms, for loans secured by real estate, the maximum term is 30 years. The maximum term on machinery and equipment is for its useful life or 15 years. Maximum term on working capital is not to exceed 7 years. Loans must be fully amortized with no balloon payments. Interest-only payments may be scheduled in the first 3 years. Personal and corporate guarantors are required for individuals and entities that own 20% or more of the business, of the borrower. The cumulative loan limit that can be guaranteed by any one guarantor is $50 million. Collateral must be sound and sufficient to protect interests of the lender. It must be appropriately discounted and cannot secure unguaranteed portion with additional collateral. Typical discount rates for the various types of collateral include 80% for real estate, 70% for equipment, 60% for inventory. Accounts receivables are 60% of the book value. So as has been stated before, and all of us know, COVID-19 has impacted many rural residents and businesses. USDA Rural Development has taken in to assist rural residents, businesses, and communities affected by COVID-19. For rural business owners or agriculture producers needing assistance to manage the impact of this economic disruption, the USDA-backed loan guarantee may be an option to secure the working capital needed to stay in operation and move forward. With USDA Rural Development's Business and Industry CARES Act program, rural businesses and lenders can partner with USDA to help support and revitalize the economic infrastructure of rural communities impacted by the pandemic. A BNI CARES Act must have been in operation as of February 15th, 2020. As with the traditional BNI program, the loan application must be made through a traditional lending institution. The BNI CARES program includes higher loan guarantees for lenders, which can be up to 90% for all loan sizes. As I mentioned earlier, the standard BNI program has tiers with different levels of guarantees for different loan amounts, with the highest being 80%. The BNI CARES program also offers reduced fees for the borrowers. It includes streamlined applications and some flexibilities on loan underwriting. Now we'll go through a few slides that highlight the standard BNI program that I just covered and the BNI CARES Act program. The BNI CARES Act program has a $1 billion in lending authority for applications that are received through September 30th of 2021. There was an interim final rule published on May 22nd, 2020, which was basically an add-on to the current BNI regulation. So this slide highlights the main differences between the traditional BNI program that I just described and the BNI CARES program that is been in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The CARES program is limited only to working capital loans. Working capital may include payroll costs, healthcare benefits, salaries, principal and interest payments, rent, utilities, inventory and supplies, guarantee on any loan amount. And instead of a 3% guarantee, 2% guarantee is applicable for BNI CARES. The BNI CARES Act BNI program expands an eligible borrower to an agriculture producer. Agriculture producers who are not eligible for FSA assistance would be eligible under the BNI CARES program. The modified terms include repayment of up to 10 years on these working capital loans versus 7 years under the deferrals of principal payments for up to 3 years are possible, and interest payment deferrals are up to 1 year are possible. Capital and equity requirements have also been relaxed. The standard BNI program requires 10% tangible balance sheet equity. The BNI CARES program just requires 10% balance sheet equity or a 10% borrower contribution to the project. Collateral discounting by the lender is also not required, so they can take it and use it to secure the loan. Maximum loan amount is $25 million. So the BNI CARES program is working capital loans only. Loans must be to cover costs to prevent, prepare, and respond to the coronavirus pandemic. Loans for working capital to support agriculture production, including independent agriculture production, are eligible if the applicant's loan request exceeds the Farm Service Agency guaranteed loan authority, or the applicant's request is ineligible for FSA loans. The BNI CARES program cannot be used for business acquisitions, purchase of land and buildings, equipment, construction, and other capital expenses. Refinancing is only available for debts incurred after April 15th of 2020 for eligible purposes. And there's more ineligible purposes outlined in 4279.117 of 4279B regulation. So as stated earlier, 25 million is the maximum loan amount for a BNI CARES under the BNI CARES program. Loans shall be based on a cash flow analysis and must not be greater than the amount needed to cure problems caused by the COVID-19 emergency, so that businesses is reestablished on a successful basis. The maximum loan amount of the BNI CARES Act program is for working capital purposes and may not exceed 12 times the borrower's total average monthly costs of eligible working capital loan purposes, less the total amount of any SBA PPP loans or other federal emergency assistance received. Borrowers receiving BNI CARES Act program loans, the maximum eligible loan amount in accordance with the above paragraph may apply for subsequent loans under this section not to exceed the maximum loan amount. And just to clarify, what that means is that if somebody was eligible for $5 million in a BNI CARES loan, and they only borrowed $2 million at this time, they could come back at a later date, as long as it was before September 30th of 2021, and get an additional loan. Lenders interested in participating in the BNI program, the USDA Rural Development Business Program Director in the state where the project is located, and the Texas State Office contact information is listed there on the slide. Lenders participating in the program do not have to receive agency approval to participate in the program. Lenders under supervision of a federal or state agency are eligible to participate. The next program we're going to cover this morning is the Rural Business Development Grant. The Rural Business Development Grant is a competitive grant program. The RBDG is to make grants to eligible entities located in rural areas for use in funding various business opportunity and business enterprise projects that serve rural areas. Applicants include towns, communities, state agencies, nonprofit corporations, institutions of higher education, and federally recognized tribes. The RBDG program is divided into two different purposes. The business opportunity type projects, funds can be used for eligible projects such as identifying and analyzing business opportunities, identify, train, and provide technical assistance, establish business support centers, conduct local community and multi-county economic development. For business enterprise type projects, grant funds may be used to finance and or develop small and emerging businesses in rural areas, including limited to acquisition and development of land, construction, establishment of a revolving loan fund, and technical assistance. Rural business development grant money must be used for projects that benefit rural areas or towns outside the urbanized periphery of any city with a population of 50,000 or more. The maximum specified, however, smaller grant requests are typically given higher priority. There is no cost sharing requirement, but projects that include an applicant contribution or other funding are more competitive. Applications are accepted to the USDA Rural Development Local Office. Applicants are advised to view program information to learn about the loan application timeliness and application requirements. Application submission deadlines are generally in February of each year, and awards are made during the summer. Grantees typically have awarded to complete their project. Grant awardees will complete required paperwork and comply with the terms and conditions of the award. The next program we'll cover is the Intermediary Relending Program. This program provides loans of up to $1 million to establish or recapitalize a revolving loan fund. The 1% loans for 30 years to local lenders or intermediaries that relend to businesses to improve economic conditions and improve jobs in rural communities. Under this program, loans are provided to local organizations for the establishment of a revolving loan fund. These loan funds are used to help finance businesses and economic development activity to create or retain jobs in disadvantaged and remote communities. Applicants for the Intermediary Relending Program typically involve nonprofits and cooperatives, federally recognized tribes, and public agencies. Loans made by an IRP revolving loan fund are combined with borrower investments and other financing. An applicant match or contribution is not required, but applications that include other funding sources are more competitive. The revolving loan fund has adequate capitalization and is operating in a prudent manner. It can cover all its operating expenses and continue providing loans indefinitely. So the funds flow from development to the intermediary, who in turn loans the money to a local business, which is the ultimate recipient. The ultimate recipient repays the intermediary, and the intermediary repays rural development for the 1% initial loan that they received to fund the revolving loan fund. The following are all eligible to apply for a loan from the intermediary lender as an ultimate recipient. Ultimate recipients may be individuals, public or private organizations, or other legal entities. Intermediary lenders must have the legal authority to operate a revolving loan fund, a record of successfully assisting rural businesses and communities, normally including experience making and servicing commercial loans, and the ability to provide adequate assurance of repayment of the loan to the agency. What is an eligible area? This program follows the same rural area criteria as discussed earlier, 50,000 population or less. Funds may be used for many purposes as outlined on the slide. I'm not going to read every one of them, but it's basically for purposes similar to what the BNI loan program was. How do you get started? You can reach out to the state office for additional information and to apply for the intermediary real lending program. Applications compete on a national level on a quarterly basis. The program is administered under the 4274 RD regulation. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you, Daniel. Certainly appreciate you sharing that information. I know it's a lot of information. I want to remind the participants that this summit is being recorded. And if you have questions, you can put them in the chat box and we will capture those and reach back out to you in that regard. I also heard yesterday, Daniel and Ed, that from Mr. Chad Parker, that rural development can actually build a town from the ground up. He went on to express that if you had a flat piece of land, and I guess even a hillside, that RD could build a town there. So thank you for that information, and we'll move on to our next presenter. I think it's for Hassanar Thomas, who will talk to us about small business programs.
Hey, thank you very much. Again, my name is Tom Hasnauer, and I am the Deputy District Director down here in South Texas. We cover from Corpus Christi all the way out to Zapata and down to Brownsville. Just a brief overview on what SBA is and what do we do. We help businesses start, we can help businesses expand, and then we help businesses recover during times of disaster. Some of the services that we provide are free business counseling to small businesses. We also have federal government contracting programs through our 8A and our certification programs for small business. And then we also work with lenders on our guaranteed business loan programs. So we have a wide variety of lenders across the state and country that participate in quite a lot of our programs for lending. And then the last thing that we do, well, two other things. So we do the federal government contracting as well, and then the guaranteed loan program that we just talked about. And then the last thing is the disaster assistance program that SBA offers. And that's what, joining me here today, Joshua Patton is my lender relationship specialist, and he works with all the lenders on our disaster programs that Congress approved during this COVID crisis. Today, we're going to be talking about the PPP loan and the economic injury disaster loan. Josh, are you online?
Yes, I'm here, Tom. Thanks.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Josh.
Okay, great. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to be here. I know we're all very busy. And thank you to our hosts for giving us this time to talk about, we're going to touch on the economic injury disaster loan and the PPP loan. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the agenda. Like I said, we're going to go over the EIDL. I'll just call it that for short, and the PPP for short. And then I'm going to tell you how you can connect with your local SBA offices. They can be a great conduit for accessing the different resources available to you. Next slide, please. All right, so unfortunately, the EIDL advance that's typically what you hear referred to as a grant. It's up to $10,000 per business. We've run out of funding for that. So if you've applied and you haven't received it yet, at this time, don't expect to receive it unless additional funding gets approved. As far as the loans are still being processed on a first come, first served basis. For this program, agricultural businesses are eligible. So I would encourage you to take a look at this program if you haven't already. We're going to go over the specifics of it so that you can kind of get an idea of what the terms and conditions are going to look like to determine if it would be a good fit for you, to kind of help give you some capital going forward. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, I leave the advance in here because a lot of businesses did apply and they did get it. There are some implications of the advance on the PPP loan if you also received one of those. What the biggest impact is going to be is if you received a PPP and you received an EIDL advance, the forgiveness on your PPP will be reduced by the advance. So there would be no expectation to repay the amount of money you received as part of the EIDL advance, but you will have to repay that money on the back end whenever your bank processes your forgiveness on the PPP. Okay, so what does the loan look like? So small businesses and private nonprofits are eligible. So these are kind of working capital loans because of the scale of the coronavirus disaster. Typically, you would have a loan officer assigned to you, and you would sit down and you had very specific uses of each dollar associated with that loan. These are being structured more as like working capital, where they're going to take a look at your gross revenue, they're going to take a look at your cost of goods sold, and they're going to come up with a loan amount, and then they're going to extend it to you, and then you can use that money to subsidize your normal operations. So you can use it to cover payroll, to cover fixed debts, to cover accounts payable, to cover operating expenses, insurance. If you've got to build up, inventory because you haven't had the revenue to be able to do that, you can kind of get the wheels turning again. So if you have any really specific questions, you can reach out to your local office. Again, I'm going to tell you guys how to contact them, and they can handle some of those. Typically, the advice that I'll give people is if you're not sure if you should use it, use your EIDL to cover the expenses that you're 100% for sure you're good to go on, and then try to supplement everything else with just your general operating revenue. As far as your interest rates are concerned, you're looking at 3.75% for for-profit businesses and 2.75% for nonprofits. And the amortization period is what makes these products incredible for disaster relief. You're looking at up to 30 years. So you're going to have very low monthly payments. So you're going to get a big influx of cash, and then you're going to have very slow, steady outflows over the next 30 years. Next slide, please. Okay, so some additional EIDL details. I know I've worked with a couple farmers in our area on this one, so some of this stuff is important to them. So loans, $25,000 and under, there's no cost to apply. So let me clarify that there's no cost to apply in any case, right? The only cost is going to be is if you get a $25,000 or up loan amount, and that's going to require a $100 UCC lien. And that $100 filing fee is just reduced. It's taken off the top of the loan amount. So if I got a $26,000 loan, I'm going to get $25,900. And so that lien is another talking point that I've kind of had to work through with some agricultural businesses in our area. The way that UCC lien works is it's a blanket lien, and so it collateralizes basically everything that the business has. And the purpose for that is not to tie up your access to capital by, collateralizing your accounts receivable or your inventory or anything. The idea is to protect the loan for the whole 30 years. And so our businesses, we have lots of assets come in, we have lots of assets go out, and the SBA just wants to make sure that that loan is protected as your business continues to grow and evolve and survive. And so when you're working with your banks, and this is where the interaction comes, it's going to be pretty common, I think, going forward, that banks are going to know how to request that the SBA subordinate a lien on, for instance, on a piece of equipment. And so basically what that is if the bank wants a first lien position to collateralize a piece of equipment in order to do the loan for you, the SBA has no problem subordinating it. It's just that the bank is going to have to come to us and say, hey, we need to go ahead and finance this. Can you please subordinate? And there is a process in place for that. So I've seen a lot of, kind of consternation over, well, I don't want to collateralize everything. The goal is not to tie up your access to capital by collateralizing it all. It's just to protect the loan, and we will subordinate. Okay, so loan amount is determined based on your gross revenue and your cost of goods sold. So if you are filling out one of these applications, make sure you're paying attention to that. Get that stuff right. Cost of goods sold for, if we've got any manufacturers or restaurants or anything, what that's going to be is whatever the cost of your raw material is right? And then you refine it into a product and you sell it. Cost of goods sold for a service-oriented business is going to be much lower. You know, it's just going to be, if I'm a home healthcare worker and I've got some Windex and I've got to sanitize stuff, you know, the cost of that Windex is going to be my cost of goods sold. So there's no obligation to take the loan if it gets offered to you. So if you say, you know, we're not sure what this is going to look like, let's go ahead and apply. Again, there's no cost to apply. And then, you know, you get extended a loan officer, you get extended a loan offer. If you decide that everything's back to normal and you don't want to do it, that's fine. No big deal. Just go ahead and back out of it. No harm, no foul. And then I touched on collateral pretty well, but anything over $25,000 is going to require that blanket lien. And we will not deny for a lack of collateral. Like I said, you know, we're not looking to collateralize everything for the purpose of, you know, just locking stuff up. We're just trying to protect the taxpayers' money. And then it doesn't require, we will not collateralize your primary home in Texas. Next slide, please. Okay, so who's ineligible? Most businesses are eligible at this point, but who's not? So any business where gambling is more than 1/3 of annual gross revenue, casinos and racetracks where their purpose is gambling, businesses of a sexual nature, pawn shops where they derive more than 50% of their income from interest, investing or lending companies. One thing I've run into, people that sell investments or sell insurance or anything like that, you're a sales organization, right? You're not an investment company or lending company is going to be, you know, like a hedge fund or a private lender or something like that. Charitable organizations are okay. That's to include religious organizations were actually approved to receive EIDL loans. And then any kind of speculative activities, so oil wildcatting, flipping houses, that kind of stuff, something where you purchase an asset and you hope to increase the value and resell it, those are not going to be eligible. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do you apply? So I included the URL here, economic injury disaster loan, so covid19relief.sba.gov. It works best on an iPhone with Safari or Chrome on an Android. PCs, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, if you're having problems, you know, you can try that. And then if you have any specific questions about the application, we're going to go a little bit into the application. So I'll kind of give you the heads up on what the tough parts are. But if you do have any specific questions, there's an 800 number there for you to reach out to. I will warn you, there's a lot of demand for these loans, so there's a long wait time. So just be prepared for that. Okay, so this is what the application is going to look like. And if you look at the top there, you see you've got 5 bubbles. So you've got disclosures, business info, business owners info, additional info, and summary. So if you know what you're doing and you are really in tune with, you know, the numbers of your business, you can knock this thing out in probably 15 or 20 minutes. If not, you know, maybe have your CPA or your bookkeeper with you. Basically what your disclosures bubble is going to be for is verifying eligibility. So it's going to be very, very simple, you know, and then business information is going to be what your address is and that kind of stuff. Business owners information, same thing, but for you, not for the business. Additional information is where they're collecting the only 2 pieces of financial data, because that's where I see a lot of people get hung up on, is the only 2 numbers you're really going to have to input that are financially related are going to be, again, your gross revenue and your cost of goods sold. So it's not like you're going to have to submit these big, massive financial statements and balance sheets, income statements, and that kind of stuff. Next slide, please. Okay, if you have an existing application, we're still processing those. If you have a question, you can call the 1-800 number. I listed it again there for you. Next slide, please. And okay, so most of our processing now, and when we're contacting the borrower, for the majority of it, if you get approved for a loan, you're going to get an email. So keep a close eye on your email if you've applied and have not been approved yet or received your loan. We have loan officers now that are starting to reach out to borrowers that are lacking information and there's something that needs to be cleared up. Usually their first thing to do, because if we can get you verbally, it's a lot faster. So typically they'll give you a call. So watch for those. And if you want to do some vetting, you can always call that 1-800 number, get the name of the agent or whatever. If you're kind of leery, call the 1-800 number and verify them. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you get denied, if you disagree with SBA's decision, you may request reconsideration subject to the availability of funds. and you would submit your request to one of these locations. We recommend email. So if you look at the third line down, pdcrecons@sba.gov, like PDC reconsideration at sba.gov. Okay. So that's going to be where you would just send them an email and you'd say, hey, this is my application number. I was denied. You will have received an email with a PDF attached to it that's going to tell you this is why you were denied. So I was denied for XYZ. I'd like to appeal the process. I'd like to appeal the decision. What do I need to send you to clear this up? Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So we're going to go over the PPP real quick. Next slide, please. I know this has been in the news for a long time, so we're probably all familiar with it. Considering the audience, one thing I wanted to touch on, sole proprietors, 1099s, independent contractors, you guys are all eligible to apply for one of these. You don't have to have quote unquote payroll, right, to apply for one of these. If you are basically paying yourself, like if I'm a sole proprietor, I am the business, right? And so any money that comes into that business is essentially paying me. It's my payroll, right? So if you've held off because you weren't sure about it, call the bank and they're going to ask you. They've got very specific guidance on what documents they need to see to make sure that that they can get you the appropriate amount of money. These loans have changed a lot over time, but now we're looking at a 24-week covered period. So what that means is from the day I get my loan dispersed, I have 24 weeks of eligibility to use that money. If I abide by a couple rules that we're going to go over within that 24 weeks, and I can apply for up to 100% full forgiveness on this loan. Okay. So if we go to the second bullet, the loan can be fully forgiven if the funds are used for payroll, mortgage interest, rent, and utilities. So transportation is included under utilities, which might be relevant for some of our rural viewers. But that's going to include gas cost, right? That's not going to include like your truck payments or anything like that. So gasoline costs. Employment and compensation. So these are some extra criteria that you will have need to meet. Employment and compensation must have been maintained for the 24-week covered period. Otherwise, you could have some partial reduction in forgiveness. At least 60% of the forgiven amount must have been used for payroll. And then anything not forgiven is going to remain as a loan. The terms on those loans, you're looking at 1% interest annually, right? So very low interest. And then you're looking at a term of up to 5 years, depending on if you got a loan in the beginning, you're at 2 years, but you can negotiate it up with the bank. And if you get it from now forward, you'd be at 5. Okay, so I wanted to touch on a couple new developments that we had. So PPP availability was extended through August 8th. One thing I would mention is that lenders are going to start to cut it off before that date. So I had some people wait until the very last minute last time, and I wasn't able to get them all set up with a lender. So please, please, please don't wait till the last minute. PPP forgiveness guidance. That's a super hot topic right now. It was distributed to the banks, so they have it. That they're good to start submitting applications for forgiveness to the SBA on August 10th. So if you've got a PPP loan and you've been sitting on a forgiveness application, or you have no idea what to do, reach out to your bank and talk to them. They should be in the process of developing what that's going to look like for them. The bank has a lot. The bank is going to be your conduit to the SBA. So they have a lot of leeway on how to do this stuff. So talk to your bank, talk to your bank, talk to your bank. And then finally, the URL for full guidance on the PPP. If anyone's interested in that, I always like to provide it in case you want to be your own advocate. There's a lot there, but if you want to read through it, it's public information. Next slide, please. Okay, so I know we're coming up on the time. Next slide, please. This is my last one. Okay, so if you want to get a hold of your local SBA office, you can go to this URL, sba.gov/local-assistance/find. Type in your zip code, and then you can do the drop down if you're looking for just the SBA district office, and it'll show you what district office is closest to your zip code, and you can actually call them. And we have relationships with chambers of commerce. I have a relationship with the USDA, Farm Service Agency. I mean, everybody. So they can be a really good asset to just call and leverage and say, hey, I'm looking to do this. Do you have any connections that you could help me with?
Is that it? All right.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, thank you very, very much. Very powerful information in building the resilience of communities, and not only that, but just helping our constituency throughout Texas and throughout the nation. So thank you so much for that information. And guess what? We are right on time, and we're coming up on a break. But before we do the break, I would like for Rachel to maybe give, or SRDC personnel to give some instructions on the breakout, and then we'll go to break.